At the very least, he can make it interesting. I do think Lambo is the heavy favorite, but we'll see. As we have spawning down in the bottom left for Team Blazer, it is Krystianer.
And his opponent in the upper right. He's red, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo, our Zerg player.
And my first question is, does Lambo have anything special prepared for Krystianer? Normally I would say he's very confident against a player like Krystianer, and I think he will be. But there's always the chance that, just because Krystianer is a bit of a predictable player, particularly in this matchup. He's very iterative. He has his build. He has his script that he likes to follow. Lambo might decide that there's something that he wants to punish and that he wants to do against that to take advantage of the fact that Krystianer is a little bit more predictable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Krystianer and PvZ, if it's PvT or PvP for that matter, Krystianer definitely has some cheeky tricks up his sleeve. But Lambo certainly is the player, well, one of the players, but in my eyes, potentially the player to exploit that. Just the YouTube guy. He always has so many cheeky builds up his sleeve. So, but then again, at the same time, he still mauls about Protoss, so we'll see what happens.
Well, it's not just that he has cheeky builds up his sleeve. It's that he has a dynamic understanding of how to exploit weaknesses in his opponent. Mm-hmm. So if his opponent has a particular tendency, Lambo will have a good idea of how to find an opening and how to exploit that opening. I don't think of, because you have something like, let's say, what Art did in game number 2 versus Milky Cow. Now, in a funny sense, that is actually exploiting a bit of an opening from an opponent. Milky Cow didn't want to scout when he goes for that double gas, and we had Art taking advantage of that, going for the proxy double gate, and basically winning the game off of it. I mean, not even basically. He straight up won the game off of it. But then Lambo would do that a little bit less committed, I think. He would look for more tells that his opponent's going for something specific before going for something like some kind of all-in to try and cut his opponent off at the knees.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but Lambo, one thing, definitely got to say it. He is certainly a fountain of knowledge, much like Harstem, for, like you said, finding ways to exploit the opponent. But yeah, he's not necessarily gonna go for all in usually, unless he sees it. But we'll see what happens in game number 1, because it looks pretty standard.
It looks pretty standard so far. He does go up to 6 lanes, and he actually is going up to 8 lanes here. I wonder if he's going to try and move across the map, or if he's just getting prepared for what Krystianer loves to do, which is committing in with the double adept. Now, already we're seeing something very different from this in the fact that Krystianer doesn't commit in. Even though he was right in on top of the 8 lings, I am so used to seeing Krystianer commit with those adepts, and the fact that he doesn't is already a big deviation from his normal game plan, but this is not. Quick robotics facility, 2 additional gases. I think we're probably going to see this go into an Archon drop. That is his bread and butter in this matchup. He loves it so much. There it is. There's the Twilight Council. And yeah, he's going to be going for an Archon drop as a follow-up.
Yeah, Krystianer is a huge fan of the Archons. I have seen him do a little bit of the hero style on occasion from covering Krystianer so darn much. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be a pretty standard Krystianer play, as he said, and Lambo's certainly going to have some...
What? Okay, this is not going to be the normal setup. He's getting 4 extra gates instead of just the 2. And I think this is still going to be a Charge Lot Archon. Or I think this is still going to be Archons, but I think this is also going to be Charge Lots. I think this is going to be a Charge Lot Archon push. An old school 6 gate off the back of this. And Lambo, if he is caught unprepared, could end up just getting killed outright. This is a nice little adjustment from Krystianer, and he's kind of leaning into his own reputation. And Lambo might end up under-defending this if he gets caught unawares.
Yeah, that said, the probe looks like is going to be a little harassed. Does get the Nexus down. And honestly, this is a little reminiscent of Forjumi's build. But Forjumi, as we saw earlier in ESL main stage against Cyril, but Forjumi did the gas pull, etc. I like Krystianer's patience to getting gas saturation. He's going to have more Archons, potentially, and then eventually more charge lots as he gets that third base established.
Well, this is actually an extremely old school build. Oh, Lambo building 8 Overlords. This is a Laser Lord territory. By the way, there was a little bit of a sloppy defense initially as Queens were kind of out of position to deal with the first Oracle, and he lost 3 drones earlier when he really didn't need to. He is building 9 Roaches, but he has to... Okay, he is continuing to pump Roaches. I think he's got an idea of what this is. He's going to see when this warps in. Yeah, and he is going to continue to build Roaches. Already getting a little bit of damage in on this War Prism. It is still going to be a little bit scary to deal with, but he is, so far, well prepared for this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks like he was setting up for that 66 drone Roach printer, but he's not going to quite get to there, and I don't think it's going to matter. Getting that Roach production out like he has been pretty good so far. But the Archon's killing a lot of Queen steadfast.
Yeah, he was one. Oh, he gets the kill on the Archon, though. I mean, to be honest, this is not massively dedicated, but it is dedicated enough from Krystianer that he needed to do so much more than he just did. Double Adept. Oh, not going to shade into the natural. No Roach speed just yet coming out of Lambo, even though he... Oh, there it is. Even though he did have the layer for a little bit of time, but... I mean, look at the supplies right now. Like, it is so heavily in favor of Lambo at this point. Krystianer, how many Immortals does he have back at home? Just the one. Doing a little dance. Second one is being chrono boosted out, but if Lambo just keeps pumping out units, maybe does go up to 66 drones now, you know, just goes for a big Roach Ravager Ling Flood, it's going to be hard-pressed for Krystianer to hold against a dedicated push.
Yeah, I'd like to see Krystianer. He's keeping the presence out. I'd like to see him drop a Robo Bay. I know that's a little hard to do with what he's got, but at the same time, a Robo Bay would be kind of nice to get some disruptors to at least kind of potentially zone back the units, but otherwise stasis wards. We don't have any stasis wards to defend, and this Oracle looks like it's going to go down steadfast.
Well, it does have one more shot. Oh, he didn't pull it back at all. And it actually stayed in range of that Queen. It will be now a German taxi with this. It's a little bit different than the normal German taxi because he's going to have Roach speed, but he is going to have that Overlord speed. It is a little bit late, so this is going to be a little bit of a slow setup. It's actually going to be German taxi and the German Autobahn. He's also got this Overlord creep highway that's going to be coming on in, and he is going to have double the army supply of his opponent. Krystianer is going to have immaculate War Prism micro with his power units to somehow survive this. And the War Prism is moving out. That is not a good setup here. Lambo already greeting this on both the high and low ground. Oh, and the Queens. Where are they? Oh, hallucination. It is going to be Aspire to follow this up from Lambo. It is still just a 3-base Krystianer, so he doesn't actually have to kill him.
No, he doesn't. He does see the Ventral Sack Overlord. He sees the creep highway with that hallucination. But this is just going to be a hell of a time holding for our Protoss player. But he is getting a massive Zealot warping behind this. If he can hold and get some pressure, that's basically his best shot.
That it is. The Queens, are getting kind of caught on the front line. No transfuses going down. 3 of the 4 of them falling. Battery Overcharge is going to get targeted down very quickly. He used it on the front line one. And because there's no War Prism, well, he is just going to get gobbled up. The Immortals are doing extremely well against these Roaches. And the supplies are actually, the difference is closing very quickly. Meanwhile, in the main base, the Zealots are going to get cleaned up. But they have disrupted this quite a bit. And they found the Spire. So Lambo, he doesn't have like a bunch of gas in the bank. It's not like he's going to be able to suddenly pop out 15 mutas. He is actually... I actually don't even know if Lambo's ahead anymore. I think Krystianer held that well enough. He kept all his Immortals alive pretty much. Only one of them fell. And yeah, this feels like this is a decent spot right now for Krystianer.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's taking a 4th base behind it. He's going into +2. Obviously, he started Blink, and he's going to need that Blink against the Mutas. But he even has a little bit of static. He's got that Photon Cannon. Would like to see some battery. Well, would like to see a battery and a cannon going each mineral line if he could. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it is worth noting that War Prism should get picked off here by these mutas. That's kind of nice. Corrosive Biles will miss, but I mean, the mutas are going to find a kill anyways. And he gets all the zealots inside, so that's kind of nice too. It is worth noting that there was no upgrades for Lambo with that. That was quite a dedicated attack, and it killed a lot of Archons, but it didn't do too much more than that. Now, how much... Okay, this does force a cannon out in the natural mineral line. More Stalkers have been warped in. Fourth base coming in from Krystianer. Mutas are going to find one probe, but he loses one of the mutas as well, I believe. This is... Yeah, I'm starting to really like Krystianer's position. If he can manage to get maxed out, it is going to be quite difficult. Oh, Lambo forgot Bane speed. He wanted to go for a big Roach Ravager Ling Bane max out timing, but with no Bane speed, that is not an option.
Yeah, I hate to say it, I do like those heavy Roach pushes from Lambo, but going for the German Taxi and Autobahn at the same time, kind of, you're mentioning like we have a really old school build from Krystianer, then we have like a previous patch build from Lambo. I don't think that was the play, as we're seeing. I kind of would have rather seen plus one melee with that.
Oh. Corrosive Biles actually do land on a couple of the Immortals and the units behind it as well. Krystianer's not yet maxed. I don't know if he needs to move out just this moment, but I think he wants to prevent Lambo from trading on his side of the map. We do have the Roach Muta counterattack coming on in. Will force Krystianer to take the engagement very soon, but this is so much army value for Krystianer. But Lambo, I love the counterattack. However, look at this defensive posture from Krystianer. Very nice. Using the SimCity quite effectively. But here comes the big attack. Banelings are going to be able to get through the force fields, but the force fields behind it will cut off about half of them. Lambo, he just needs mass Bane to somehow hold off against this.
Yeah, and these mutas are actually getting a lot of work done. Going to fight into the photon cannon a little bit. Army supply looking pretty even, Steadfast, but Krystianer has that upgrade advantage. If he can get in position, yeah, Banelings hitting Immortals and Archons, not what you want to see, but still, I think Lambo is, more Banelings.
It is going to be tough. There's still 3 Immortals left, but most of the power units just got cleared out, though. So Lambo, if he can kite and get out the reinforcements that he needs, he's already broken. Oh, okay, Krystianer's just going to recall. Yeah, I was going to say he's already broken most of the integrity of this army. It's no longer a death ball, and Lambo behind this killed 31 probes. Great job from Lambo. Krystianer was in a very strong position with a lot of potential to just end the game outright, but Lambo was able to get a good enough defensive engagement and got a lot of damage done on the other side of the map. And now I'm liking Lambo's position in this game. He's on 4 bases. Krystianer is also on 4 bases, and he's still on 47 workers, but he does need to get something done against Lambo, I think.
Oh, for sure. Again, this is one of those times that mutas are not... Still would like to see a Robo Bay go down as soon as he can, just because of how much it's going to sound crazy. Disruptors, maybe a Colossus for the Ling Bane, as we see Max Packs do recently.
I think it would slow down his momentum a little bit too much. Immortals do eat some big Corrosive Biles right there. There's so many Ravagers here for Lambo. Lambo does not want to lose his base. He really has to hold it. And the Corrosive Biles so far have been great, actually, for Lambo. And they keep landing home on these units. Now there's only 1 Archon, 2 Immortals. There's no juggling. Krystianer's keeping the War Prism in the very far back. He needed to be juggling these units, and now it's a 40 army supply lead for Lambo. Of course, it is Roach Ravager, so that is a little bit inflated. Oh, wow, the Spine Crawler survived that whole time. Must have put in a lot of DPS. But the thing about transitioning into a Robotics Bay from this point is that right now it would kill the tempo of Krystianer, and he needs to kind of kill his opponent. I like that Lambo's gone back into mutas, by the way. He is going to be able to get into the natural expansion. There's no cannon left alive here, and that's going to be so many dead probes. I think Lambo is wresting control of this game away from Krystianer and putting it firmly in his own control. He is so far ahead in supply now, finding a bunch of workers. And actually, the Stalker's blinking on top of these mutas, but okay, Lambo just wants to get away with the mutas. Represent threat continuously. I think Lambo is taking control of this game in the last couple minutes.
Oh, for sure. Like you said, there wasn't a lot of, any War Prism juggle from Krystianer with his power units, particularly the Archons and the Immortals. But even the Stalkers, really, he really needed that to take that 4th base out. But now Lambo on a 5th base, it's looking pretty scary for Krystianer. The only thing I do like is he's going into +3, and Lambo has not been keeping up with the upgrades. Just relying on numbers.
Yeah, Lambo's been so pressured. He has not felt like he could go for additional upgrades right here. And I think until basically just now, that is the right call. I would, at this point, now that he's maxed out, maybe like to see him add on a second Evo chamber, get some additional upgrades. But even still, you can throw away so much, so many resources just flooding Ling Bane Ravager. And he knows that Krystianer is in a tough position trying to defend both bases. Force fields are going to come on down, but the Banelings are going to get in on top of the mineral line. They will find a lot of probes. 12 probes do go down. Battery overcharge getting taken out as well. And the sentries just eat huge corrosive biles. There's so many Ravagers from Lambo, and he is once again just cozy, comfy with the corrosive biles. Oh, and they take down the Warpers as well. All the Immortals and Archons go down. And it is a 100 supply lead here. Lambo takes a very exciting game number 1. That was some good stuff right there.
Yeah, I think that may have been just a little bit of a throw from Krystianer. By God, look at the APM of these guys, though. Steadfast, 414 on Krystianer's side, 633 with Lambo. That's just insane.
Yeah, it is definitely pretty quick. A lot of that has to do with the rapid fire setup, but they are still absolutely very fast players. Very fast players.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be getting into game number 2 in just a moment. It is going to be on Data C here. Lambo, he had to work for that one. He absolutely had to work for that. Krystianer really fought hard, but Lambo, at the end of the day, he got the job done.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're going to have an exciting game number 2 with that said. I think Krystianer's in pretty good form. So he's down a map. Let's see if he can come back and pull it off for the Polish Protoss.
Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye on that. He is one of their hopes for sure. One of the rising stars of the Polish Protoss community. And there is a lot of Polish Protoss players out there. And here is this one. Spawning up in the top right. For Team Blazer, it is Krystianer.
And in the bottom left, representing Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo. In game number 2 on Data C.
Yes. It is worth noting as well that Krystianer, even though he went for the same build, he did switch up his game plan just a little bit. Didn't commit his early game Adepts. Went for the 6-gate charge lot play. And I feel like that almost baited Lambo into an attempted kill maneuver. And that kill maneuver didn't get the job done. Like, it put Lambo into a pretty awkward position, to be honest. I think Krystianer was in a solid spot. And that push that Krystianer did with, like, just a ton of Immortals and Archons and Stalkers, I feel like if there had been some very good War Prism juggling with that, we might have seen the game end then and there.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Krystianer killing his own War Prism, as it seemed.
Oh, at the very end?
Certainly didn't have at the very end. Yeah, that put the nail in the coffin for any potential comeback, if there was any.
Yeah, I don't think he really had much of a chance at that point. It was looking like Lambo had already...
He was looking...
Yeah.
But he had a maxed out Roach Ravagers supply, mostly Ravagers at that. Oof.
Yeah, and as supply inefficient as Roaches are, Ravagers, with their 3 supply, they're not the most supply efficient, but you are basically adding... so if you think about it in terms of cost, 75 minerals, 25 gas for 2 supply is not supply efficient at all, but 100 minerals, 100 gas for 3 supply. And, of course, the corrosive bile itself. Like, the army power and the army value and effective army fighting strength of a Ravager is much more supply efficient than a Roach. That's not to say it's the most supply efficient. Obviously, Banelings are the most supply efficient in terms of cost and value gained. But, you know, it is nice to have more Ravagers than Roaches. By the way, Lambo going to get away with just building 2 Zerglings to secure this third base. Krystianer could have actually dropped a pylon there and been a real nuisance to prevent that third hatch from coming on up for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that would have been pretty big if he delayed it. That certainly would change the tempo of the game for Lambo. But that being said, it might have forced him to be a little more aggressive.
Yeah, we'll see if Krystianer decides to go for the Adept Shade buy here. We do have Lambo once again getting up to those 8 Lings, and the Adepts, they could have gone for a Creep Tumor Snipe right there, but he wanted to keep the HP maxed out, and I think he will. Oh my, wow. Krystianer is showing the most restraint I have ever seen from him with his Adept Shades. I've never seen in a PvZ from him not shade back or not shade into his opponent's natural expansion or main in 2 games in a row. I've literally never seen that from Krystianer. Double Stargate.
Yeah, looks like we get a little double Stargate play this game. Hate to say, I don't hate it to see it, but against a player like Lambo, I feel like he just knows how to deal with Stargate play. We're going to see a Phoenix follow-up. Are we going to see Phoenixes?
Yep.
Are we going to see a little Rotterdam?
A little bit of double Stargate Phoenix. We'll see if he goes for the +1 weapons off the Cybernetics core. If he does, it is, well, it kind of tips the hand a little bit that it's, at the very least, it tips the hand that it's Stargate play. You know what I would love to see, actually, is more Protoss players, when they're doing like what Krystianer did, go for a fake +1 air. I think that would be such a good move. Why don't Protoss players do that? That's such a smart move. All it does is, like, you see the Ling poking up, you have 100 minerals, 100 gas in the bank, and which is pretty common to have that. You start that up, you take your late 3rd Nexus. It could have been that 6-gate charge lot play that we saw in the previous game. But you make your opponent think that it's a double Stargate play of some kind, and I think that'd be amazing. Also, Harstom had a video where he actually built a 2nd Cybernetics core in the main, and he actually beat Serral with it on the ladder with a hidden Cybernetics core that was starting +1. Now, the Phoenixes without their +1 they just don't pack as much punch.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They definitely need to get that +1 cumulatively overall, but we're going to see that faster layer come on a Lambo. I mean, is it really a faster layer, though? It's seeming like a pretty normal time layer, actually, now that I think about it, but we'll see if Lambo is going to go into Hydras or Corruptors more, which would probably be a little better, obviously.
There should be enough Lings here to deal with these Adepts, and yeah, Krystianer can't really afford to lose these. These are keeping him safe to secure his 3rd base. If you were to lose those while going Phoenixes, it would be very difficult. Okay, he's going to reveal the Phoenixes. He already showed 1, but he's revealing now 8. And the Queens are relatively well tucked in at the 3rd base. Ooh, Lambo's got to be careful. He can't let them get baited out. No, Lambo got to pull back. We do not want to lose those Queens. We cannot afford to.
Yeah, I think Krystianer wasn't right on top of that to capitalize. He was, but
he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's as comfortable with this kind of play style.
Potentially, no. A lot of Overlords are actually away from Spores here, but that will allow the Queens to kind of collapse in on top of that, and he gets some transfuses. I don't think he lost any of the Overlords right there. I'm going to see once the battle report actually updates. Okay, he lost 1 Overlord, but he was able to transfuse most of them back up. And now it is going to be a Hydralisk transition. We did have Blink started up initially, but he decides, no, I actually need charge and +1. But Lambo is already on 88 drones. Oh, once again, 3 Queens kind of on their own. Lambo needs to be a little bit more on top of his Queen control, but Krystianer is concerned about what's behind it, so he's not going for it with these. There's multiple times where Krystianer might have been able to find the pickoffs.
Yeah, I wonder if Krystianer is going to go into Storm. He's got that charge coming. It's muscular augments before Groove Spines. I don't know if we talked about that at all. No, yeah, but it's going to be a +1 melee follow-up. I kind of like this out of Lambo.
Yeah, it'll be Lingbane Hydra, because he knows that there is going to be a ground transition. You can't just go mass Phoenix. It just isn't viable. I mean, Rotterdam pulls it off, but against players of Lambo's caliber, that's just not going to work out. And Lambo knows that Krystianer knows that. So he is going to be transitioning, of course, into that Charge Lot Archon Storm. But holding this 4th base will be a challenge. You mentioned in the previous game, Stasis Wards were not used. This game, we do already have 2 Stasis Wards set up, and Storm is going to be available on at least 4 High Templar.
Yeah, I do like the setup from Krystianer a lot better this game. He's getting static defense. He knows what's coming. He scouted the Hydra setup, at least on that regard. And, ooh, nice Stasis Ward, speaking of which.
Well, I mean, it's
5-6 lanes. Not great, but...
Yeah, no, this is actually very good for Lambo that he triggers those Stasis Wards with just a small number of units. Oh, Lambo getting a Hive and a Spire. Is he just going to go for a very quick Broodlord timing? Against this incredibly fast Storm from Krystianer, that would actually be a pretty great decision, I think. Looks like an attempt to pick off some Queens. Once again, it doesn't really work out. And considering the commitment to these Phoenixes, they haven't gotten enough done, I don't think. Yeah,
and again, no +1 makes them kind of not necessarily useless, but certainly not very impactful. He's found like next to no value with let's be real, other than some scouting information.
Yeah, and Lambo not gonna try and kill his opponent. He wants to take this later. He says, you know what? I think it's gonna be tough to kill you. Data C is a very good defensive map. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He just killed 5 of the Phoenixes. Make it 6. Oh my. Wow. Okay. Lambo does realize he doesn't have Baneling speed, though. That is a big problem. That is actually a huge problem for dealing with these High Templar, because there's really... I mean, when you're going Lingbane Hydra, you need those Baneling speed, or you need that Baneling speed to be able to deal with those. Ooh, a couple of Lings going to run into the army. Greater Spire does start on up for Lambo. Oh, these Banes are going to find these Zealots on the bottom right side, and that's going to allow the Lings to clean up these Archons, so that's pretty nice for Lambo. But the main push is going to be quite scary.
Oh, yeah, that is very, very true. War Prism is going to scout some of this. I don't know if I agree with killing the rocks in the long run. But, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like
as you said.
Feels like it opens up an opportunity for Lambo to go for huge flanks. I feel like if Baneling speed were done, Lambo could just wrap around on this army and get a ridiculously good engagement. There are so many Storms available. Ooh, Zealot run by on the left side is going to be very difficult to deal with. It is going to come in during this fight. Storm on the Hydras is going to be huge on the top flank. Lambo, oh no, he move commands miscontrolling the engagement as he is focused a little bit on these Zealots. They will get Banelinged into obliteration. But is there enough for Krystianer to actually push through? Lambo is struggling in supply. These Banelings are going to finish up. Storm. There's still quite a few Storms available for Krystianer, but very few Zealots in this army. Here come the Zealot Warpins. Oh, the Banelings are going to force the Archon morph, and that is actually pretty good for Lambo, but does he have enough to hold on against this pure Charge Lot Archon force? I actually don't think so at this point. He's already lost 19 drones. Banelings are not being produced, but they are getting some big connections in the small numbers that there are.
Well, Steadfast, something else. It looked like the War Prism died, but I think there was there 2 War Prisms? That's something I didn't... It looked like one... Yeah, one did fall. There were 2 War Prisms at this army. And guess what? Broodlords be damned. GG's called. Krystianer somehow denies it and takes it.
Yeah, there just was not enough for Lambo to hold on right there. He got slowly ground down and pushed back. And eventually Krystianer was just able to break through. I think the first engagement for Lambo went way too poorly. The Zealot run-by feels like that's what won the game right there for Krystianer. Man, the Broodlords, if he was going to go for the Broodlords, he needed them out a lot quicker. He didn't start the Spire when he started the Hive, and that is the key timing there to be able to get that out. I still don't think he would have been able to have them out in time, but he could have given up the 5th base maybe. Also, the lack of Bane speed was critical. That really hurt Lambo's chances.
Oh, for sure. When you're going against Stormy boys, no Bane speed. Yeah, that's a little scary to say the least.
Yeah. And Krystianer, well, he's going to force game 3. It is going to be on inside and out. Lambo, couple of missteps in that game, and they cost him dearly. Let's see if he can clean things up for game number 3 as we have spawning up at the top right for Team Blazer. It's Krystianer in the blue.
And his opponent in the bottom left, representing Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo in the red. And I think Lambo might be able to pull this back out. I think we're going to see a pretty standard opener from both. But this is the kind of game I doubt it out of Krystianer. He's more predictable, but he's been playing a little less predictably than usual in some regards. I wonder if we're going to see a build like 4-gate Glaive or DT Archon out of Krystianer in game 3.
I think there's a possibility. He has been playing less predictably with his follow-ups, I would say, more so than anything. I think he's shown a lot more flexibility in regards to that. I think his opener is probably going to be the same. I do wonder, though, if he goes for the double adept, if this time he actually does shade forward, maybe hoping that Lambo cuts a corner here or there, and instead of getting 8 lings, maybe only gets 6, or... I don't think Lambo's going to do that because, like, I mean, Krystianer is just so... so commonly commits those adepts, but it's something to look out for at the very least, and I'll be keeping my eye out for that.
For sure. So far, we're just waiting for the standard 20 Nexus, 20 core, presumably out of Krystianer. Yeah, it looks like he's going for 20 Nexus, 20 core. Does drop it. I think we're just going to see a Stargate opener as well, but I was just saying it would be kind of cool to see a little bit of plot twist and you see a Twilight opener.
I mean, yeah, no, it'd be very neat. I just think Krystianer is the kind of player that loves his single Oracle openings into other stuff, basically. And if anything, I'd be surprised to see him deviate away from that. He has not gone for a hatch block yet in this series, and with no warp gate, it is going to be a Stargate once. Hang on. He starts up warp gate. Oh, it's going to be the Twilight. Okay. All right. That feels like, based on the fact that he didn't instantly start the warp gate. Actually, hang on, Lambo. Oh, he doesn't. Oh my goodness, the Overlord is actually too far back because it wants to get close to the safety of this pervert pillar. It is actually too far back to see that warp gate was started up relatively quickly. So that might have been calculated from Krystianer, and Lambo might be thinking it's a Stargate play once again. We'll see how long it takes before he figures this out.
Yeah, and that Twilight's about to finish. We have the Robo going down. Let's see what it is out of Krystianer. Are we going to see resonating glaives? Are we going to see DTs?
With 3 on each gas still, probably going to be DTs.
DTs, yeah.
But actually, yeah, no, he's going up to 150 exactly. Yep. Going to be the Cloaky Boys. And this is a deviation and a half out of Krystianer. Now he gets... Wait, what?
He forgot his Dark Shrine. I'm pretty confident he forgot his Dark Shrine.
I think you are right. Oh, wait, what?
Huh?
He's getting glaives, but he's still mining so much gas.
I think he's going to go glaives into Dark Shrine, maybe.
It might be. That is a thing. That's a bit of an older school build. Players don't really do that anymore, and I've never seen Krystianer do that. And I've seen a fair amount of Krystianer play, so yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. That is very cool, and this has big potential to catch Lambo very off guard.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I think Krystianer is just in sync. You know, see, you have Beowulf you work with usually, but now you got Dave, the actual Dark Templar. You get a little Protoss out of you. See, Krystianer and I were just mentally in sync this game on the build.
Yeah,
with
and
the Kala.
It is okay. Lambo does start up a couple of Spore Crawlers, one in the third, one in the natural, but you do need one in the main base when dealing with this specific glaive. Oh, he just canceled one of them. Oh, he just canceled both of them. No, Lambo. Oh, no. This could be game. This could be series right here. Lambo. Oh, he just got bluffed. so hard. And if these DTs warp in, this might just be a dead third base.
I mean, hell, he could go in the main potentially.
Okay, he does rebuild the spores, but the warp-ins are going to be coming on in pretty quickly. He's seen that there's not enough adepts here. Oh, these adepts, they're just going to go for the spore. They are going to go for the spore, and that is going to be a dead third hatch. There's another spore crawler being rebuilt here. He doesn't cancel it. He just gets it killed, but we are going to see these DTs just clicking it down the hatchery. Spore is trying to reposition, and it will be a recall on the adept, which means that there's actually going to be enough here to defend against this. Oh, that recall was a huge mistake, I think, because now the spore crawler can root, and this is actually potentially going to be a hold on this base. He's trying to target him down. He doesn't get it. 15 HP. One shot and the Warp Prism goes down. Oh my goodness. Lambo holds it by the skin of his teeth, and there comes the transfuse.
My God, Steadfast, what a goddamn game. Krystianer loses the Warp Prism. The recall was not the play. And oh my God, what a throw.
It was a throw indeed. One volley from those adepts on the base, and he would have killed it. Now, we do see the DT that was hidden in the main base trying to come back in. You know that Lambo is going to be on high alert at the third base. Spore Crawler will not fall. We will see 10 drones in total, but he just threw away every adept to get those 10 drones. 10 adepts for 10 drones, well, 10 adepts and a DT for 10 drones, not even close to worth it. Lambo is now so far ahead in this game, but he does still need to make sure he doesn't lose this hatch, and look at how much transfuse he's put into it. He's already gotten it back up almost 500 extra HP. It was on 15 HP at one point. Oh, man, I cannot believe how close that was. Literally 2 adept shots would have killed that base. That is the difference.
Yeah, that was definitely a very calculated attack from Krystianer. But again, I don't think that was...
Well, he forgot to carry the one. Yeah. He forgot to carry the one. His math was just a little bit off.
Oh, man. Just watching the hatch survive, that was something.
That was wild. I cannot believe that that is how that turned out. Lambo has just now caught up in the worker count. There is a shield battery at this base, so these Lings not going to want to commit on in. Ooh, Lambo did get a little bit supply blocked right here. Once again, popping out 8 Overlords at once, and his supply cap is going to get very high very quickly. We are going to be seeing another Overlords, or another Bane speed upgrade. This time it is on time. Observer will spot these Banelings, and that's actually very nice for Krystianer. He's going to be able to pick these up almost for free.
Oh, yeah. Yep, he's got Blink. He does take a few hits, but just
shield
damage.
Just shield. One probe for a ton of Banes. It doesn't show up in the battle report, which is weird because he did kill them. I'm not...
Right.
Regardless, that was very good for Krystianer. Lambo, though, is still quite far ahead in this game. You can see the Blink Stalkers. They want to go for a snipe here. Lambo's creep spread, though, is far enough out that he is going to see this coming from quite a ways away. Now, does Krystianer try and blink forward? Oh, wait, what the?
No, wait.
He just corrosive biled nothing, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was the Observer. You killed the Observer. Nice.
This is a little bit of a power spike for Lambo. He's got +1. He's got Glial Reconstitution, and Krystianer's is still a bit away. Obviously not the greatest stalker count, and he has to be a little bit of a nuisance on the map, but that said, it is going to be a tough battle without that +1 against +1.
Yeah, Lambo once again popping out 8 Overlords all at once. He's been struggling a little bit with those supplies. Couple of times getting supply blocked pretty hard at some of those specific numbers. And now he even has a couple extra Overlords popping out at once. He is still in a commanding position in this game, but he does need to get something done before Krystianer secures this 4th base, before Krystianer gets up into Storm. Charge is going to complete pretty much by the time this attack comes out, but Lambo is about to max out. And as you said, he's got Roach speed, he's got Bane speed, he's got that +1 missile. This is going to be tough to hold.
Yeah, and as time goes on, he's got +1 melee, +2 missile, +2 ground weapons in the way for Protoss, though, and Sonic Storm. But one thing I would have liked to see with Krystianer's army, he has an Observer, and he hasn't been using it to kill creep while he was out earlier, so a little bit of a blunder.
It is a little bit... Oh, look at this nice defense from Lambo. He knows that Krystianer is going to try and come in for a run by here. And, well, the Roaches and Spine are going to be able to deal with this. Good job by Lambo here. Oh, actually, hang on. He loses track to the Zealots. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh.
Two are going to get a few workers in the net.
Yeah, they should not have been able to get anything, but they will get a little bit. There is Storm done now, and there are 5 High Templar on the field. Ooh, he's going to drop the Storm on those Banelings, but that will allow Lambo to get in position and deny this 4th base. And that holds Lambo's lead massively in this game. Just denying that 4th. I mean, he's still in a phenomenal spot, and he's taking his own 5th base. Corrosive Biles do land on those Stalkers a little bit. Lambo about to finish up his +1 melee and his +2 missile not far behind. This is a great spot here for the German Zerg.
Yeah, Krystianer almost had that Nexus down. So I guess in a way, it almost kind of helps him out that he had at least got a cancel on it if you have to. But yeah, that's just not going to help him in the economy he needs in this game.
Yeah, he needed that base. Big Storm actually killing all the Banelings right here. Good zoning Storm on the left side as well. Lambo trying to go for a wraparound, but Krystianer is saying no. Once again, another Zealot run by getting set up here. Lambo building another Spine. Now, a lot of this... Oh, this army supply... Okay, it is being kept at home. We're going to see the Zealot run by being dealt with by Lambo. Ooh, little bit of a Stalker flank. Actually, Baneling's going to come in on top of this mineral line and going to find so many probes. 16 probes go down. Will be the army getting cleaned up. But on the other side, Lambo trying to push forward into the High Templar. Does... Right. Actually, it's mostly Storms on Roaches, so not too bad. Lambo, hey, he's still ahead by a good amount. Krystianer, though, does have a very strong, very large army.
Yeah, Lambo, though, now going into +2 melee and Carapace for his army. This is going to be a little rough for Krystianer, to say even more rough, I should say. Even with that 4th base, he's lost so many workers. Yeah, it's not looking very good for our Polish Protoss.
Not particularly just yet. Oh, what do we have in the Warp? No, it's just Zealots in the Warp Prism. There is a lot of Storm available once again. This time, Lambo is much more prepared to deal with this. He's heading up for a big flank. I really wish he would have taken down these rocks. Oh, but if he can find these units in the back, these High Templar in the back, he doesn't see them, but there are 6 High Templar all clumped up together. Big blink forward coming on in. Lambo, he's going to try and 360 no-scope this one. Banelings are going to get stormed on the right side, but they're still going to connect with the army. The massive 360 surround is going to come in. The Roach Concave is very good. Zealots will flank on the back of the Ravagers, and there's actually a lot of Archons here, but all the Storms are gone, and Krystianer needs to still win the game with this army, and Lambo just needs to kite and rebuild.
Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, these Archons are starting to take a beating, but the friendly fire, Corrosive Bile, steadfast.
And not so friendly there, but he still deleted all the base. Well, not deleted, but he forced all the High Templar to morph into Archons. And we do have these High Templar warping in, but they are fresh. They don't have Storms available. No Immortals on the field. No big power units. Lambo doesn't have a Hive. That is the big problem for him, is that he does not have a Hive. He probably could have gotten it a while ago. He's got the Infestation Pit. I think he's had that done for a while. But he is still doing everything that he needs to. And he is going to be on 1-2-1, soon 2-2-1 behind this. But I think he's going to be able to go after the probes here. Once again, Storm's going to be used defensively, but they are not going to break the momentum of this army. I think Lambo is going to be able to close it out pretty soon here, as long as he just doesn't eat massive Storms. And actually, all the Storms have been used up. The Archons are going to tank against the Banelings, but it is not going to be enough here. Krystianer plummets below 100 supply, and Lambo will take an absolute slugfest of a series. GG gets called.